Welcome back to hockey season, everybody. They score! That's hockey, baby! Jared McCann and the Kraken, for the first time in their young history, win an opener. They score! It's Jared McCann! Point number 400! Jared McCann wins it in overtime! Winterton, he scores! There it is! Ryan Winterton has his first goal in the National Hockey League. Score! Matty Beniers has tied it! Leaving it for Tolvanen. One-timer, scores! Vince Dunn in overtime!
Good evening and welcome to the holiday edition of kraken-home-ice. I'm Brianna Vasquez. In this episode, we'll look back at some of our favorite stories from the season. Let's get started with the meaning behind the goaltenders' masks.
It's honestly one of the coolest parts of playing goalie.
Goaltenders have a unique freedom on the ice. While they're saving pucks, they're doing it in style. A style their very own. Goalies can customize their own gear, which makes for a series of menacing masks. Joey DeCord works with his artist, Shifty, back in Arizona to create his Kraken masterpieces.
I mean, I told him for this one I wanted big S's that glowed in the dark. For this one, I said I wanted similar to last year, and I wanted some mountains and stuff on it, and I wanted the big, Kraken on the side. So, the rest he kind of comes up with on his own, and he does an incredible job. So I let him let me cook a little bit.
When defending the net at home, Joey is armed with a mask that gives nods to his favorite things.
I always got Bowie on my home mask because he's my guy. Kraken here, big S logo. Number 35. Here's Sparky the Sun Devil. And then wanted to get some of the Seattle kind of Pacific Northwest stuff. So we got mountains, Space Needle.
And when he's in enemy territory, he always carries part of the PNW with him.
A lot more white and a lot more of like the ice blue colors. 35 on the chin. Again, we got like some trees. Kraken S, Sparky's right here. Kraken written on the top, and then some mountains kind of hidden in the back. And then wanted to throw the Anchor logo on, so we got the Anchor logo.
Each player's masks tell a different story. Philip Grubauer works with Dave Art back in Sweden to craft a mask that has all the things that make Gruby the goalie he is.
Love fishing, so I put fly fishing up there, the city in the background. I always have my horse in a couple small details. There's actually me roping a cow.
His second helmet is designed by a local artist, Preston Singletary.
I love the Indigenous because there's so much history and artwork that goes into it, and it represents the coast Salish. So I love this one. I think this one is really cool.
Both Joey and Gruby also have a new helmet to go with their new all-black threads.
We wanted to go pretty bold with it, so big S logos, big eyes, Kraken eyes, 35 on the front. We got a black cage with some splatter marks on it. All this color of blue all glows in the dark.
I think this one is really cool because it's got a couple small details, the bubble. Then in the background you see a couple Kraken logos. The theme was a little mean looking.
The newest netminder comes to Seattle with his own style as well.
But I've always kind of done the same thing, tried to stay consistent, and I just like the simple look.
Matt Murray works with Steph Bergeron out of Montreal, the same mask designer he's been with for a number of years. The two of them had fun with his gear this season.
I usually keep it pretty simple, just do kind of one logo on each side, keep it symmetrical, and then I like to do the stripe down the middle.
And for the all-black uniform, his helmet will glow right along with his jersey.
Very, very simple here. This will really pop in the black light. Same thing with the logos. It's all glow-in-the-dark paint, so it should look really cool with those jerseys. Also went with the chrome cage, which is a little different.
Freddie Gaudreau is a team player and has quickly adjusted since becoming a member of the Kraken. We talked to Freddie about his versatility.
Seasons are hard, there's ups and downs, but through it all, like I said, our group does it for each other.
Gaudreau cuts across. Here's Montour. He scores!
Freddie Gaudreau's adjustment took some time. New city, new team, and 4 games in, an injury.
Took a heavy body check there.
It could be discouraging for some, but not for Freddie. His positive attitude never wavers.
It gives me even more of a sense of what it is to be with this group when you're not with it, so it kind of gave me that. So I felt even more excited to come back, and it's good to be back now.
Seattle's right-hand man is now healthy and has officially notched his first Kraken goal.
A steal. Gaudreau. He scores!
Freddie's versatility makes him a force on the ice, but he's just trying to deliver.
Just try to bring what's asked of me every day. There's for sure some offense that I want to bring more, but just trying, like I said, to bring the rest of the details. That's my main thing, and then the rest will follow.
Much of his motivation comes from his teammates.
It's a group of guys that do it for each other, that love to come to the rink every day. It's a beautiful game we get to play all together, and it's fun when you feel like everybody feels the same way about it.
Freddie's just as dedicated off the ice. When moving to Seattle, he made it his mission to get involved, especially helping with the Down syndrome community.
Some things that fill my art, fill my wife's art also.
His nephew was born with Down syndrome, so it's very important to Freddie to provide his support where hockey takes him.
My wife and I have contacted the Down Syndrome Center of Puget Sound. It's been awesome. Also contacted a little bit Best Buddies. Yeah, we've started, and it's been awesome. We leave those places and we feel like we got so much more energy. We feel like those people teach us so much.
Every season, the team responsible for putting together the show open at Kraken home games gets more innovative. We talked to them about this year's inspiration.
The excitement of a Kraken hockey game starts well before the puck drops. You know it's time to get serious when the lights go out and the show open starts.
Ready, set, go!
A sequence that's been cooking for quite some time.
We start, typically as the season comes to an end, we start evaluating what went well, what didn't go well, what needs to get better. This year was a little different. We feel like we've been too close to the story for a while, and we've kind of been telling the same, tales have been told from the deep. There's a scene in it that I love where we go from an old wooden sailing ship into a modern research vessel. And it's just bringing our story from the past and into the modern days. And there's another shot where we zoom through a porthole of a ship and it reveals the players in this submarine thing. So they got really creative with their transitions this year.
The team behind the Open is tasked with combining storytelling and hockey, creating the best fan experience.
And hopefully for fans that come over and over and over, they can watch a different surface each time and notice little Easter eggs of signatures on the north wall when players are on the screen. And we try to tuck little things in different places so people get to experience it differently.
From the video elements to the lights to the music, every part of the Open is carefully thought out.
Changes 100 times before we land on the right one. And then it's slowly just add in more layers and more layers as we go, and eventually you end up with the final piece. So it's a lot of fun kind of creating this roller coaster where we kind of build it up and then calm it down. Then we go even higher and then we calm it down. So it's a lot of building and releasing of energy.
Ahead on kraken-home-ice, a hockey player, a mascot, and a bear walk into the same river. We get the story behind the viral bear encounter and why the Kraken were in Alaska. Plus, we've asked the players a lot of fun questions in our shootout segment. Our favorite answers when we come back.
Right there.
I gotta break you off.
Okay.
Over the summer, this video of a close encounter between Kraken and Coachella Valley player John Hayden, mascot Bowie, and a brown bear went viral. The bear clearly was curious about the uncommon wilderness sight of a gigantic sea troll. They were in Anchorage for a youth hockey camp. This bear encounter kicked off the week. Hayden tells us the story behind the viral moment. It was a day the Hayden siblings will never forget.
So it was just really special. The fishing day for John and I, we said was more a top 5 day.
John Hayden was asked by the Kraken if he wanted to attend a fly fishing trip to Katmai National Park, followed by a week-long youth hockey camp in Anchorage. He jumped at the opportunity, especially when encouraged by his younger sister, Catherine. She was his +1.
Just to have that life experience with my sister was special because we're pretty close, and there's 8 or 9 months where I don't see her very much.
The Hayden siblings grew up in Colorado, so they're no strangers to outdoor activities.
John!
That's so sick.
But what the fishing trip had in store, neither of them could have predicted.
I would describe it as a little bit like Jurassic Park vibes when we got there. Like John and I are kind of like head on a swivel.
As soon as they arrived at the park, the group did bear school, where they were taught how to respect the bears and their territory.
It was a pretty smooth day. We had fun. We caught some fish. There was the one hiccup, maybe, but we got out of it okay.
That hiccup was when a 600-pound grizzly bear charged at John and Kraken mascot Bowie.
Our guide did such a good job, and so I'd say it was about five seconds of feeling a little bit dicey, but aside from that, it was good.
John and Catherine had been separated at that point for safety reasons. Everyone was with a guide since they were in such a highly bear-populated area.
It never actually felt like you were in like impending danger necessarily. I mean, except maybe when the bear did charge at John.
Fortunately, the bear reversed course just as suddenly as it had charged at John and Bowie.
I gotta get far. We saw the guides kind of like took care of the situation, and they're professionals, and we were like, okay, I think like we're fine. We're gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be okay. So it kind of turned into like a cool thing more than a scary thing at that point.
One of the most impressive parts was Hayden had a fish on his line before the bear encounter and still hauled it in for a summer record sockeye catch for the area, beating out a salmon his sister had caught earlier in the day.
My sister was the first to do it, so then things started to get a little bit competitive, so I'm glad that I ended up catching one too.
If you take in like the landscape of Alaska and the experience with the bears and catching fish, and John set a record, so it was really, really fun.
One of my favorite segments in Kraken-home-ice is the shootout. It's where we ask the players a series of questions having to do with a variety of topics. My favorite so far, what's one hockey rule they would change?
That is a good question. Kind of like the way the game the way it is, but maybe overtime being 10 minutes or something. I think it's only 5, so it's a little quick.
Go back to the fighting. More fighting.
No icings.
I'd say the PK rule, if you score a shorthanded goal, then the guy gets to come out of the box. I like that rule.
As a goalie, I would do nobody in the crease at all. Every time you go in the crease, it gets blown down. That's a goalie rule.
Probably if you score on the penalty kill, it ends it.
Less penalties.
One rule I would change? I got to be able to go up across the red line on delayed penalties so I can go score. No shootouts.
The playoff format, I'd rather go 1-8. Playoff format, probably offsides. I like it how it is. I'm just going to keep it.
Playing in the NHL has been a lifelong dream for these Kraken players, a dream their dads have been a part of since the beginning. Next on Kraken-home-ice, we're hearing from the dads on what it means to see their sons succeed. Plus, how Jaden Schwartz honors his sister every time he steps on the ice. For the younger players, these past few years have been exciting ones, full of firsts, and their families have been a part of it all. During the Kraken's dad's trip, we talked to some of the fathers about what it means to see their sons live out their dreams.
Other than wanting to be Batman when he was a little young, he wanted to play in the NHL.
From helping them lace up their skates to driving them to endless hockey practices and tournaments, all roads led to the league.
This is great. This is what every parent, who puts their kids in hockey wants, right? It's a dream come true for him, and as a family, we're happy to be able to be a part of it.
For Mike Evans, Todd Cartier, Simon Wright, and Garth Winterton, it's extra special seeing their sons succeed in Seattle.
He is living his dream, truly. It's an amazing experience. You can't believe when you look back at it, when he was 4 years old learning how to skate, hey, you know what? It's a Canadian kid's dream to always end up in the NHL. He's actually here doing it, which is like the most unbelievable thing. And it's, now you just, hey, what's possible?
While Riker, Ryan, and Shane were all Kraken draft picks, the journey was a little different for Ty. Seattle picked him up as a free agent in March of 22. A little over a month later, he made his debut and scored in Game 5 of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Wagons a shot, Cartier scores!
An unforgettable experience for the Cartier family.
When he scored that goal is, it's one of those things where you think to yourself, all the goals that he scored in the past, this has led up to this particular moment.
No matter if it's the big or small moments, the dads are just thankful for the quality time with their sons.
You miss being able to just drive to the rink and, talk about things on the way. There's, a lot of discussions, a lot of conversation, a lot of good conversations anyway that happen just for driving there.
Just seeing him, just being with him. The hard part when you live in Toronto and not being with Ryan all the time is just making sure he's okay and just seeing him and seeing his smile and just having a, conversation really makes me feel warm and amazing, actually.
The future is bright for these homegrown Kraken.
When Ryan started hockey, he moved out of the house when he was 15, and now he's moved to another, city outside of the country at 21, and he's just grown as a man and grown as a human, and but he maintains his good morals and his perseverance to play in the NHL.
I think he's gotten a little more rugged. It's a different league. It's it tests your abilities every night. So I think he's doing a pretty good job.
There's trials and tribulations, ebbs and flows as there are, but I feel over the last couple of years he's beginning to really find his footing for things, which is awesome.
The dad's trip is a unique opportunity for each father to experience a day in their son's life.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see him, get to go to work day with your kid. It's kind of cool as a parent.
See what the actual players go through and their what they're going to be like, and the experiences that they get to have.
And above all, the dads are proud.
He's followed a goal and he's making it. So we're just super proud of him following his dream and being who Ryan is.
I'm proud that he's made it to this level, right? I'm proud of the person that he's become. I'm happy and I love him for it. It's a fantastic experience for everyone, right? I'm proud that he's here, proud of the Kraken organization. I'm happy to be his dad.
Jaden Schwartz wears the number 17, a number chosen to honor his sister Mandy, who passed away in 2011 after a battle with leukemia. Every game, Jaden keeps Mandy's legacy alive.
Hockey Fights Cancer is a campaign that's near and dear to Jaden Schwartz. Every time he laces him up, Jaden's not just doing it for his team or for himself. He's doing it for his sister, Mandy.
She's obviously still, with me, and it's difficult still. You kind of hold that inside every day, but trying to represent her as much as I can.
Mandy, like Jaden and their brother Rylan, also played hockey. She played at Athol Murray College of Notre Dame and at Yale. During her junior season at Yale, Mandy was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. After 3 years of fighting, she passed away at the age of 23 on April 3rd, 2011. Less than a year later, Jaden made his NHL debut with the St. Louis Blues.
She had such a big influence on me.
Jaden originally wore the number 9 at the start of his career, but changed to 17 when he got the chance. 17 was Mandy's number.
Obviously it was an honor for me and meant a lot to my family and friends. She was the best sister that, I could ask for.
The Schwartz family started the Mandy Schwartz Foundation to raise awareness for bone marrow drives and have successfully helped match donors. It means a lot to Jaden and the entire Schwartz family that Mandy's impact lives on today.
She was such a special person. There's been a lot of matches for people who needed transplants, and that ended up saving their lives. So that obviously there's a number of people have been impacted by her. And then but I know I never met her, just knew how special she was, and so caring and loving towards everyone. So she's still, she's still thought about and remembered every day.
There's a lot happening at a Kraken practice, from shootout drills to face-off exercises. Sometimes the team has to get creative. Next on Kraken-home-ice, the story behind the on-ice help. 2025 was a historic year for the Seattle Torrent. They became Seattle's first professional women's hockey team. In their first home game, they broke a record with over 16,000 fans in attendance. the most at a women's hockey game in a U.S. arena. They made history again with their very first team win against the New York Sirens. It's been an exciting start for the Torrent. An NHL roster can have a maximum of 23 active players, but sometimes there's a few extras at practice helping with the drills. The plot twist? They're not actually players. Let's meet the Kraken practice dummies.
They say practice makes perfect. And while a lot of the players get to see their improvement during games, there are two guys who take a beating out here and they'll never see any game time. Meet Harry and Lloyd.
They're two members of the Kraken you might not recognize. They suit up in the same gear, show up to the same practice facility, and participate in the same drills. But you won't be hearing from them in media availability. That's because they're practice dummies.
We've sort of affectionately been calling them Harry and Lloyd this year from Dumb and Dumber.
The dynamic duo serve as a tool for players to practice shots without having to hold back.
You don't want to put Schwartz or Canner or somebody who's anybody, right, in front of us, and then some teammate rips pucks at them, right, so they get hit. So that's obviously a good thing to have.
Players can shoot as hard as they like, and then obviously the dummies don't feel the pucks.
They're also a huge help to the goaltenders.
Trying to simulate a couple traffic situations where you have to find out your lane. In the game, there's guys crossing in front of you.
They are like a very close replica of what a player would look like in front of the net. We also have a skate lace and a portion of a stick attached to them, so I can push them and pull them through the goalie's eyes to kind of replicate what we call a flash screen, which is when a player kind of goes through the goalie's eyes at an inopportune time for us goaltenders, and we lose our sightline momentarily. So that's something that we can recreate.
Practice dummies aren't just a tool in the NHL. Kraken goalie coach Colin Zulianello also used them during his time with Coachella Valley.
In the American Hockey League, you have quite a bit more practice time, and it enables you to kind of get more sort of goalie sessions in. So we would use them very frequently. We also use them a lot for our players to like shoot through. We put them in scenarios where they'd have to like miss the dummy, shoot through the dummy, and so on and so forth. So they were kind of a common staple in our skills days in Coachella Valley.
Harry and Lloyd live in the entrance of the Kraken's locker room and are known to take the players and coaches by surprise.
You know, they spook a lot of us when we're walking through that tunnel and forgetting that they're not real people standing there. And even though I use them frequently, they still get me a time or two as well.
It's actually funny because when we take a couple people through, like family that comes through and just wants to see like the facility, they walk out there and they're like, oh.
They're also not immune to the players' shenanigans.
Their faces do get drawn on. We don't know by whom.
Maybe Tolvi has drawn a couple things on there.
And that will do it for the holiday edition of Kraken Home Ice. I'm Brianna Vasquez. Have a safe and happy holiday. We'll see you in the new year.